Welcome to another video of Live at Rekordbox. In this one I'm going to show you the public beta or beta, as they say in America, of Rekordbox 7. First thing you have to do is go to the Rekordbox website, and once you get there and you're already logged in, you have the option to go to support and then information. You'll get an option to see news from February 6th that shows that there's a public beta. It alerts you that it's exclusive information for subscribers, and it gives you a little screenshot of a setup that's already familiar to what we know. They talk about implementing AI, cloud, and automation technology. The beta or beta will be up for about 2 weeks. So if you're interested to check it out and supply the Pioneer DJ AlphaTheta team with feedback, you should go ahead. You can do that through the request form. That's the inquiry form they also always use to get feedback and bug reports. They warn you to make a backup of your current collection or library before you start using it. They also alert you that the edit mode won't work as expected, and of course, since it's a beta, you're not guaranteed the stability you're used to with. They supply links to Mac and Windows, and for Mac, I think most users will be very pleased that there's finally native support for the Apple Silicon. Some of the new things they've implemented is a new browse function for streaming services. I won't be able to show that because I don't use streaming services. Same with the new preview player for streaming services. They added a new filter function for the collections, and they added a dual player to export mode. I'm really interested to know what that is, since it already has a 2-player deck. They added a new recommendation to track suggestion. For most people, this isn't a new feature. This has been around for a few years. They also added a new playlist display function, column view, and they added auto queue creation, or called intelligence queue creation. There's also a new view for the preferences. I'm looking forward to see how that looks. And they also listed a few issues that might be present, like analysis may be slow, some controllers might not work properly, settings might not reflect correctly, and notation might be out of date. So I would definitely not recommend it for your day-to-day use, but I definitely give it a look to see if it's up your speed. Notable, library sync is not available, so if you use that, stick with Rekordbox 6. When you download it and you first open it, you'll get a warning that you're using a public beta or beta version, and they also warn you again to make a backup before using this. So when you open it, the library view is very familiar to what we already have in Rekordbox 6. There are a few new icons located in the column used to indicate the analysis data of a track, and it shows you that it cannot run collection radar streaming since there's no analysis data. Looking at the top, you can see that things have gotten smaller. The text has been a little bit more streamlined. They're now showing the various modes you're in. So dual player will show you something in the direction like this. And then the others are a familiar view that we've had before. So I'm gonna stick with dual player because I'm really interested what that will do compared to the player. Because the only thing I noticed is that on the side, it gives you more options than before. They have an info window that will show you the information window for the news. Then you have the creative button. It shows you which subscription you're currently on and the ability to upgrade to a higher plan. I have to say that the text in this is really small to read on a high resolution. Now next to that, we have a slightly adjusted cogwheel. I have to say that it doesn't really look like an improvement, so I hope this is just a temp. Things I notice is that the uh, text on different buttons has gotten smaller compared to Rekordbox 6. Icons have gotten smaller, so that's really interesting. Same with the playlist icons and filter. They've become a little bit more simplistic, so hopefully that will help people understand things. On the left, the biggest change here is that there's no default category separator anymore. It's now based on icons, so when you click on the second one, it will show you all your playlists. When you click the top one, it will show you your collection. What I do like is that you can now show your whole collection, or you can show it on date added, which is really great because now you can see when you added various tracks to your library. You can even make a genre separation here that it only shows you this, which is weird because it actually is a double category filter from the one that we already have here. So I'm not completely sure. Then there's an artist filter for your collection and an album filter for your collection. There's no option to add your own filter, so that's too bad. So you have two options. You have the old school look of the tree view where you expand it and it shows you all your playlists, or you can use the new column view like we saw in the collection where everything is underneath and then everything breaks down to the next section for you to check out. And there's a separate analysis playlist creator. I am looking forward to see what this does. It says that it analyzes cue points of registered tracks to this playlist. The more cue point PNS are collected, the more you're able to achieve cue points similar to your cue point. Interesting. Then there's the icon for related tracks. Oh, as you can see, there's already something not working right in the beta overlapping text. The related tracks is a feature that's been in Rekordbox for years now. So if somebody says it's new, don't believe them. This isn't new. This has been in here for a while. It's just not a feature that a lot of people use. So what this does is that depending on the track that you selected, it will give you related tracks. So you will see that by selecting the deck you have as master, in this case it uses deck number 1, it will suggest tracks related to similar key or one up or down, so 10A and 8A. As you can see, the track is 9A. Another one that's default of the related playlist is the same genre. So if you have a similar genre and you added it in the last 30 days or something, it will show up here. Then you have one that shows you the same artist. It's actually just an artist filter. And matching is when you use the match track feature, the tracks that you've selected to both be matched with each other. Think of covers of the same sample. This is a great way to show the tracks instead of having to remember them. Suggestion is another feature that has been in Rekordbox for a while. Again, if somebody says it's new, no, it is not. Only difference here is that Collection Radar and Streaming Radar are new, because in Rekordbox 6 you could see that track suggestion was located under related tracks, now has its own section, and it didn't have the first two, but it does have era, mood, and association. So era is that it looks for tracks with a close release year. So if something is released in 2021, it will look for tracks with a similar release year. Mood will look for similar mooded tracks. What I don't know here is if it looks at tags and if it uses the internet to see if it's mood related. So it's an interesting playlist to use, association that's related to if you filled up your metadata, it will look at labels, artists, and similar things. Also handy when you want to play in a certain direction. Then we have streaming radar. So what streaming radar does is that it looks for tracks similar to the one you have loaded from streaming websites. Since I don't use any streaming website, cannot be shown. But here I have from my collection some suggestions where it says, hey, look at it. These are similar to what you have. History tab and the recording. So all the categories we used to have single bars from are now made into icons. I don't know if everybody's gonna like that, but that is one interesting thing to see. We also have the ability for the Wi-Fi connection, and the sync manager button has also gotten smaller, so there's more space everywhere. Take a look at the other side. You can see that the sections are similar than as they were in Rekordbox 6. The only thing that is slightly new is the info. It's a little bit more streamlined, say it like that. Release date used to be more up here. It's now down here. PM has also been moved down. Key has been moved down. Play count has also seen a little movement. So it's a little shift of information, with the most vital stuff being up here and the less vital stuff going down. Interesting choice. All the other things are just similar to what they were. Let's try the new hotkey analysis, because I'm interested to see what this actually does. Okay, so when we have the track and we choose to analysis, we can mark this on, and it will tell you that it will automatically set hotkeys or memory cues using general cue points information. So your tendencies and phrase analysis. This is very interesting because we know that phrasing usually doesn't go that well with certain genres of tracks. Let's see how it does with the easiest one, house. Okay, we get an icon. It shows that it's phrase and vocal analyzed. The only thing I don't see is any that's interesting. Oh, yeah, now I see it. And it's added cue points to various points. So if we take a look, it added it with the beginning of chorus 1. It added it at the down. It added it at another chorus 1. And it added it at the intro. So if you need a quick set of cue points set, I think this is it. If you're a little bit more creative like me, this might not be really what you're looking for, but it's handy to have in your collection. I do notice that switching between the various looks, there's a slight delay. So I hope this is just because of its beta version, but if it's not, that will be interesting to see what happens. Another thing I noticed is that does it remember your sort order? So I hope that is the thing they talked about, that settings may not be reflected correctly. I hope it's that and not a new behavior. Another feature that got added is the ability to see all the tracks which are contained in a folder. So when you have a folder and you place multiple playlists in that folder, you now have the ability to see all the tracks from each playlist from the top folder. This is similar to the crates in Serato. In Rekordbox 6, You didn't see anything when you went to the top level of the folder. It just showed a blank screen, and you had to open the folder and then go to each individual playlist. Okay, let's have a look in performance mode. I see it's a little bit less cluttered when I look at the deck sections, but it's smaller at some things. You can also see that it added a text that is an auto cue, which is great. I'd hope to see options to be able to tell them what it is. So in this case, intro, that would use that information. An extra button. You have more streaming services available, and the other icons are familiar to what we had before. On the right side, it's the auto mix section. No mention of that seeing any improvement, so you don't have to check that out. Take a look at preferences. You can see that they made things a little bit bigger and less cluttered. My first impression is that it's a little bit too big, but it does help with the various information. The thing I like the most is that there's a search option, so you don't have to go through 20 tabs to find what you need. You can just type Q and it will show you the options related to Q. So that's nice to have. It's like a zoomed in version of the previous preferences, and no, there's no option to make the window larger, so that's a disappointment. So in the analysis section, you can see that you can set the focal to default. I think the icon is to highlight that this is a feature from a subscription plan. The embedded analysis is what we saw before. Tracks with similar characteristics by using track analysis data from the server cloud. They collect customer track info and store it. So what you're getting is track suggestions of tracks played by others included in your collection radar or streaming radar. So when many DJs play a certain track, it's probably gonna get recommended to you. I don't know what to think about that because you want to play not too familiar sets as others. Cue analysis, another thing that's hidden. You can set your cue points automatically, and you can set the number of cue points or the number of memory. Oh, that's interesting. You can choose between memory and hot cue. The ability to say, hey, don't override my current cues, and you have the ability to have it add an auto cue comment to your cue. That's nice that you have the option. It would be even better if they added the ability to just add what the phrasing is. Let's check out the dual decks. This seems to be a mashup where you can blend two different tracks to recreate and control them at the same time. What I notice is that you have to click the center icon to link the two tracks, and then you are able to control by stopping them or pausing them at the same time. There doesn't seem to be any advanced features. When you take out the high from one track, it doesn't go to the other one when it links. So it doesn't seem like something more than the two deck, aside from just blending the two together and giving you an option to see what happens when you play a mashup with them. So to look at the Rekordbox 7 beta makes it interesting. They have made minor tweaks at certain things. If I have to say that the biggest addition to this version has to be the ability to see tracks from the top folder and the intelligent cue addition feature that is also known as an auto cue adder. I still have my personal doubts with the cloud recommendation feature. I don't know in what way that would be great when you want to make sets, because if you're entirely basing your set off what other people play, in which way is it still unique to who you are as a DJ? I've already made a few reports regarding small bugs that I encountered, so I hope those get fixed. I'm actually surprised that the UI has gotten slightly smaller than it was before, because when I look on social media, I can see that most people complain about the UI being too small, and that's not related to the library section that you can increase in size and spacing, but really the buttons and all the other features that are default to the software program. If this is the final release and there won't be any major additions to the 7.0 release, I hope that we'll able to see a few more improvements to the stems feature, as that is still lacking. So I hope you found this video useful, and if you're interested to try the beta or beta, check it out. Make sure you back up your collection database and give it a spin. I'll be trying it out with DVS to see how that responds, and if needed, provide the team at Pioneer DJ AlphaTheta with the proper feedback, so we can have a great DJ software come the official release. Thanks again, and I hope to have new videos ready for you soon.